All right, welcome back to the channel. The WBC, man, they just know how to screw some stuff up, don't they? They have elevated Vasily Lomachenko to the franchise championship and have also elevated Devin Haney to the WBC lightweight championship. This causes a problem for Haney, and it causes a problem for Vasily Lomachenko, and it causes problems for boxing fans. Let me explain to you exactly why that's the case in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel, subscribers. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. Also, thank you so much to the Patreon community. Thank you so much to the people that attend to the live stream community, Monday through Friday, right around 11:15 a.m. and Sunday, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time for OG Boxing Talk, man. Thank you guys so much for everybody that supports the channel. Now let's get on to what I consider to be blatant foolishness. The WBC held a convention. I think it's an annual convention in Cancun, Mexico, and they issued a bunch of news came out of there about rulings that they made. Some of them I like, some of them I think are ridiculous. This one, although foreseeable, is ridiculous. They have what you call a franchise champion. Vasily Lomachenko won the vacant WBC belt against Luke Campbell after Mikey Garcia vacated his WBC lightweight championship. So now Vasily Lomachenko has that belt. Vasily Lomachenko had a mandatory who he's supposed to fight, Devin Haney. And instead of having Lomachenko fight Devin Haney for that belt or enforce a mandatory on Vasily Lomachenko, the WBC elevated him to this new designation that they gave called the franchise champion. Now, a franchise champion is somebody that does not have mandatories. It is somebody who literally does not have to fight at that weight class. He does not have to defend his belts. He is just a champion, the franchise champion. And Devin Haney now is the champion who has mandatory designation. So, Devin Haney, if he wins a voluntary match against somebody, he will have to then fight mandatories. But is he the champion? Is Vasily Lomachenko the champion? Who exactly is the champion of the WBC? That's a problem that it causes for Devin Haney, because Devin Haney, just like Jamal Charlo, can't say for that they are the only WBC champion. Now, there's a WBC silver champion, WBC bronze champion, Mayan belts, all kind of stuff going on over there. But until they had this actually brought in this franchise thing, they never had anything that was elevated above the regular champion, except for the champion emeritus, who's somebody who's retired or is not fighting, who then has the right to come back and fight for the WBC regular title whenever they decide to come out of retirement. Like at heavyweight, the champion emeritus was Vitaly Klitschko. Anyway, why would they do this nonsense? The way that I see that this is being administered, it is whenever a fighter gets a WBC belt and that champion is important enough to them that they'll give it to them so that they won't leave the WBC. They won't just drop the WBC belt. It's a way to keep themselves tied to that fighter. It's a way for the WBC to keep themselves tied to Vasily Lomachenko. It was a way to keep the WBC tied to Canelo Alvarez, because they're not doing this for fighters that I've seen, that for fighters that have been longtime reigning WBC champions. For example, they didn't make Deontay Wilder the franchise heavyweight champion and remove his responsibility to have mandatories and allow him to fight whoever he wanted to fight, and then elevate Dillian White to the regular WBC championship. They haven't done that to Gary Russell Jr. Gary Russell Jr. has been a longtime WBC champion. He's been a champion for the WBC since 2015, since March of 2015. And again, Deontay Wilder has been a WBC champion since January of 2015. Why haven't they done enough in order to be called a franchise champion? No, well, I guess what they mean by franchise is they're just somebody that you're going to slap the belt on and let somebody else own it. You know, kind of like a McDonald's franchise. You own the franchise, somebody else owns the franchise, but they just put that label McDonald's on it. and whatever food you serve has got the McDonald's label on it. Maybe that's what they mean by franchise, or a tax franchise where somebody has, you know, where you have a tax attorney that does all the work. They put H&R Block on the front desk, you know, on the front of the building, and that's the franchise. That's clearly what they're doing with this franchise belt, because Vasily Lomachenko and, strangely enough, Vasily Lomachenko and Jermall Charlo didn't want to fight their mandatories, or at least Bob Arum said that Vasily Lomachenko didn't want to fight Devin Haney. I've heard that since that time, Vasily Lomachenko said he's interested in it. He's interested in a fight between himself and Gervonta Davis and himself and Devin Haney. But guess what? He no longer has to, because of what the WBC has done. Now, that's a problem that it causes. Again, that's a problem that it causes for Devin Haney, because Devin Haney now, he has a champion, but it's like what's the saying? You are like, you know, the king has no clothes. You know, you're walking down the street, you know, like you're walking down the street thinking you're kingly, but you're butt naked and everybody can see it, that you're just butt naked, and everybody's, the king has no clothes. That's what this situation makes Devin Haney look like, because now Devin Haney won't be able to actually beat somebody significant for his belt. Now, what problems can this cause Vasily Lomachenko? Vasily Lomachenko cannot become the undisputed champion at 135 pounds. He can't do it because he's not the WBC champion. He's the WBC franchise champion. And guess what? In a fight for undisputed, this is why I say he can't be undisputed. He can't be undisputed because if somebody were to beat him, say Richard Comey, he fights Richard Comey for undisputed, right? Richard Comey should be able to be undisputed as a result of that fight, shouldn't he? It should be, if say Richard Comey is fighting Vasily Lomachenko, you have the IBF belt, the WBO belt, the WBO, the WBA, and the IBF on the line. You do not have the WBC on the line, because the WBC belt franchise championship cannot pass to Richard Comey. Consequently, Vasily Lomachenko cannot be the undisputed lightweight champion. It's off the table, because if Vasily Lomachenko loses it, the other guy cannot become it. Because if Richard Comey wins and beats Vasily Lomachenko, he does not become the WBC franchise champion. He becomes a mandatory for Devin Haney. So he cannot become undisputed champion. In essence, they have taken away from Vasily Lomachenko his opportunity to become the undisputed champion. I'm sure there's going to be people out there that could argue that, common sense tells you. No, that's not common sense. In order for Vasily Lomachenko and a fight with the winner of Teofimo Lopez and Richard Comey to be undisputed, both winners of that fight have to be able to be undisputed after that fight. It will not happen because, again, Richard Comey or Teofimo Lopez would only become the mandatory for Devin Haney. There would be no super champ. There would be a WBC regular champ, which would be Devin Haney, and the winner of that fight would have to fight Devin Haney to become undisputed. So if they can't be it, then neither can Vasily Lomachenko. That is now off the table with this move by the WBC with the WBC, and at the very least, it adds a ton of confusion around the issue. So it's problems for the king has no clothes type of situation that you have with Devin Haney, and also with Vasily Lomachenko. He can no longer win and become the undisputed lightweight champion. That's off the table. Anyway, it is what it is. And with that, let me know what you think in the comment section, and I'm out. Peace.